everyone, I'm Catherine Goshen, a professional astrologer, and welcome here. There is a lot of action that is going to impact on Aries Sun and Aries Rising. First of all, Saturn, the planet of responsibility and moving forward with your life, is going to move into Aries. But for 2025, it's going to be dipping back into Pisces before it fully enters Aries in 2026. So another transition year, but also a year where things are definitely going to feel like they're moving forward, while you will still have time to complete projects that you've been working on. The outer planet Neptune that rules the creative side, the spiritual side, also illusion, and it's a planet that affects the entire world. This will also be moving into your sign. Again, straddling Aries and Pisces for 2025 until it finally stays firmly in Aries from 2026 onwards. The last time we had Neptune in Aries was in the late 1800s. So this will give you an idea of how slowly Neptune moves through the signs. And when you have this kind of long-term visit from Neptune, in other words, if you're an Aries Sun, you're going to have Neptune close to your Sun at some point over the next 20 years or so. If you are an Aries Ascendant, you're going to have Neptune coming into your first house, coming into your Ascendant at some point, infusing your personality with a go with the flow kind of attitude. And whether Sun or rising, Neptune tends to have this effect when it touches those areas of your chart. Now, Aries, you know that by nature you are a cardinal sign. You initiate action, you're courageous, you like to move forward, and you've noticed that that energy seems to pick up steam as you mature in your life. Many of you have had difficulties as children, perhaps with the father, with authority, and part of your soul purpose is learning how to stand in your own authority and to move forward, initiating plans with great courage and strength. Now, Neptune has an effect which tends to take away initiation. It can give the feeling that there is enough time or there is more time to do something. We don't have to rush into it. So it is a very interesting energy to combine with the Aries archetype. And when you have Neptune sitting on your Sun, and it depends when you're born. If you're born right at the beginning of Aries, you're going to be impacted in the next 3 to 4 years. If you're born near the end of Aries, the Neptune visit will still be a long time. But it will erode the sense that you are rushing forward to achieve your goals. And the reason we have this visit from Neptune is to help us to go deeper into a spirit world, to connect with our creative side, and hopefully to realize that time is an illusion. So the more we try to organize and push forward, the more this can seem to be washed away. Think about the fact that Neptune and Saturn also have different energies. So while Neptune may be dissolving some of that forward-moving, pioneering energy, Saturn is going to come in and offer you structure. When Saturn moves into your sign or into your ascendant, responsibilities increase, often willingly. This might be a time where your motivation to achieve in your career suddenly gets a new boost, and you find yourself applying for positions, wanting to take work further, maybe doing a postgraduate degree, something that furthers you. And yes, you will have to work a little bit harder, but that's okay. These increased responsibilities, either in the family or at work, in the home, are what you need to take you to the next level. And the best way to work with this is to shoulder them with joy and to move forward. The final outer planet movement that's going to affect us is the move of Uranus into Gemini. And while this won't have such a direct impact on Aries, because Uranus will now be in a cadent or less powerful solar house for us, Uranus will nevertheless be moving out of our house of finances, where it's helped us to make money in new ways, often using technology, but our income stream may have been erratic. Now it's moving into the area of our lives which deals with communication. So Aries, lots of opportunities for increased use of communication at work, increased travel opportunities, and increased networking. And that's going to be over the next 8 or so years. Finally, the planet Jupiter will also be moving into a cardinal sign, the sign of Cancer, and it will be affecting Aries Sun and Aries rising. In other words, in your area of life which has to do with the home and family, possibly country, there's going to be some activation there, increased activation, and it's generally very positive, because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, meaning it can bring the nurturing, it can bring the growth, it can bring the fertility to that area of your life. So if you're considering buying real estate, buying land, renovating your house, moving to a new country, welcoming in a new family member, anything that expands your home from the middle of 2025 onwards is going to be a very good time for this. January begins relatively easy, slow, relaxed. Take the first 5 or 6 days with your loved ones, with your children, your romantic partner. If you're single, take time to relax, because it's not until the 7th of January that Mars moves back into the place of the home and out of the area of your chart that has to do with good times and relaxation. It looks like from January 7th all the way until mid-April, you're going to be dealing with something in the home that has to be worked through. This could be something that was initiated in September or October of 2024. If you watched last year's video, you will remember I spoke about that slowdown of your ruling planet Mars. That's going to be on a long retrograde journey as 2024 moves into 2025. So here we are, and that home energy, it could be someone coming into your home, it could be someone leaving the home, a child that's gone to college and then returns. It could be that you are moving home, a lot of energy in the home. So that will be highlighted on the 13th of January when there is a full moon in that area of your chart. The moon is joining Mars, and there's a lot of action there. So something comes to fruition, and we are asked to be mindful, because our ruling planet is slow. It's not operating at full steam. And when Mars is retrograde, we can bottle emotions in, put things on hold, and then they can suddenly come out. So we want to be extra mindful during this time of being patient if there is someone in the home, that is perhaps difficult to get along with, hold your tongue and the energy will pass. And you will see that by April, everything has been resolved, everything has come up and been coming out into the open, and it's now moved on. And if you have handled it correctly, you have left that energy behind for once and for all. There'll also be a beautiful moon at the end of the month in the area of your chart that has to do with your aspirations as well as your friendships. So when we get Aquarius rising energy in such full force, the sun will be in Aquarius, the moon will be in Aquarius, Mercury will be in Aquarius, Pluto too. So a strong energy in an area that is asking you to connect with others, connect with your group, connect with your friends near the end of the month. And remember your hopes. What do you hope for 2025? What are your dreams for this year, when we know that all that activating energy is going to be coming in the second half of the year? For the first part of February, the sun will continue to light up that area of your life that has to do with those goals and friendships. And another blessing comes in around the 5th of February, which is that Venus will enter into your sign, Aries. When Venus is in our sign, we feel more beautiful, we feel on top of things. And if you are a woman who is trying to conceive, this can also be a time when you are more fertile. So for the next month or so. Around the 13th of the month, 12th, 13th, depending on your time zone, the full moon is going to be in Leo. So when we have the sun in Aquarius, the moon will always be opposite in the sign of Leo. And this will bring about activation again of issues with children, friendships, love given, love received. Where do you find yourself on that polarity? How much do you give? How much do you receive? If you are out of balance, the full moon can bring that to your attention. And what is interesting at this time is that because Uranus is still traveling through the fixed sign of Taurus, that full moon is going to be squared by the maverick planet, Uranus. So unexpected things can come up. Just stay mindful, because we do have a lot of unexplained or unexpected action at that time. So we want to make sure that we are also rooted and grounded. On the 18th of February, the sun will enter Pisces, and this means that your 12th solar house is now going to be activated, because Saturn is still there, Neptune is still there. So when we come to that new moon in Pisces at the end of February, around the 28th, it's going to be a time of soul searching. It's going to be a quiet time or a time of spiritual reflection. May also be a time where you get your paints out, where you get your sewing out, where you do something artistic, something creative, cooking a good meal. Pisces is also known as the sign which is linked to volunteering and to helping others in need. So if you are going to donate your time in any way, that period at the end of February is a very meaningful time. Not the least because for you, Aries, it takes place in your 12th house. When the sun is traveling through Pisces, you are coming to the end of your solar year, and you can picture that the sun is almost incubating before it will come into its fullness and be reborn when it moves into Aries on your birthday. So for the entire time that it's traveling through the sign of Pisces, you can go deep, you can connect with spirit, and you can heal. The 12th house is also a house of healing. So lots of opportunities for being quiet, for healing, and for transforming energies. March is when things really start to activate for you, Aries, because your ruling planet is moving direct now. You have a lot of energy, you're initiating plans, and on the 21st, the sun is going to move into your sign. And it's that time of year when your birthday comes around, or if you are an Aries rising, the sun comes into your first house, bringing you a lot of vitality. Health is something that you are asked to focus on during March, and this is because on the 14th, the full moon in Virgo is going to take place in your house of health. And it's also going to be a lunar eclipse. And when we have an eclipse happening in an area of our chart, it's so that we can pay extra special attention to that area of our lives. So I advise you to put the focus on good eating, exercising, taking care of your daily routine, making sure that you are eliminating any habits that are not good for you so that you can usher in the start of eclipse season in that house of health on a good note. The other very interesting thing for Aries for March is that Venus, planet of love, money, and beauty, will be going retrograde in the sign of Aries. What does that mean for you? It means that those areas, things like buying new clothes, investing in new financial ventures, starting up an intimate love relationship, those are the things you need to be cautious about, especially during March because of Venus's retrograde motion. All that retrograde means is that the planet appears to be moving backwards from Earth and is therefore not as powerful as it normally is. So when we fall in love, when we take out a new financial investment or take a financial risk, or when we treat ourselves to a makeover or to something new, or to even redecorating our homes, we want Venus to be strong and direct. On March 15th, Mercury is also going to go retrograde in your sign. So this is a good time to reconnect with old friends, to get things done in your office, clearing up. Be careful of cross communications at this time. If something's not working for you, take a pause, because the more you try to hurry up the communication and make it clear, the more confusing it gets. So it seems as if Aries is preparing for a very important time of self-reflection that is going to take place in particular around the last few days in March. And there is a new moon in Aries, which is also a partial solar eclipse around the 29th of the month. And while I usually say to you, Aries, Aries rising, Aries suns, that this new moon is a good time to set your intentions for the year, I'm going to suggest that at this new moon solar eclipse at the end of March, you don't set the intentions, and you rather do that for the year at that beautiful new moon in Aquarius that we mentioned at the end of January. And the reason for this is that there is just too much activity going on at that time. When we have an eclipse in our sign, we want to lay low. We have a Venus retrograde going on in our sign, which also invites us to lay low. And the day after that new moon, Neptune is going to enter Aries for the first time. So much activity can bring about confusion. It can bring about a sense that things are not as they seem. And eclipse energies are powerful. They are powerful times to look within and to see what comes up from the subconscious. So I invite you to do quiet work of self-reflection, and this is definitely not the time to be rushing about. If you are able to go on a retreat or to attend some kind of Tai Chi or yoga or Qigong or any kind of spiritual practice, physical practice at this time, it's a wonderful time for that. If not, take it easy and prepare yourself for what's to come in April. April brings a nice forward-moving adjustment, especially around the 7th. Take a day, because after the 7th, communication clears up. We start to get things flowing again. And we're building to the 13th, which is going to highlight relationships. We've got a full moon in Libra, which is always about partnerships, happening in your house of partnerships, together with Venus action there. So are you looking for a relationship? Maybe something is going to happen at this time. You may meet someone. It's a good time. Something can come to fruition. If you're in a relationship, pay particular attention to your partner. What is the balance between how much time you spend alone and on your own stuff and how much time you give to your partner? This might be a time to overextend yourself, to be the one that gives way, or to spoil a partner in some way, in a good way. If you're not in a partnership, this could be to do with your business partner. The 7th house can also be about sporting events. It can refer to your second child. So whatever is coming up for you at this time, be mindful that because of that Venus action, you know, we've got Venus moving from retrograde to direct at that full moon. So relations of all sorts are highlighted. How are we in our social relationships? How do we relate? And can we be giving to others at this time? After the 17th of April, you can really move forward confidently with your plans, with your action. This is a good day, the 17th, to get your message out. If you want to put out a social media campaign, it's a great day for that. And things continue to go well on the 19th. Mars will move back into Leo, making a beautiful fire trine to your Sun. Mercury is in the fire sign of Aries, so there's a lot of flow there, and fire is about inspiration. So share your message, share your ideals, get it out. And we finish off April with a new moon in Taurus around the 27th. This is a great time for getting your diet back on track, for reorganizing the fresh produce that you buy. Are you eating enough good food? Is it going well for you? Also highlighted at this time are financial things. Good. It's a good time to start something, investing something, paying your bills, figuring out a finance plan for the future. Use that Taurus energy, which is taking place in your solar second house, to initiate things which are going to then come to fruition over May, over June. The month of May really does seem to be a good time for finances. Bear in mind, as May gets underway, that Saturn has been in Pisces for all the year to date, and it's going to be in Pisces from September on again. But in May, and that will be around the 26th, all the way until September 1st, it's going to enter Aries. So this is the moment. You want to be very mindful what you are doing at the end of May, because it's setting the tone for a next 2 to 3 year cycle of Saturn, this time of increased responsibilities. And why it's a good month for you financially is that your ruling planet Mars is finally out of that shadow phase. It's been retrograding for a long time, then it went into a shadow phase. Now it's moving ahead with speed, and new ground can be covered by you, Aries. New things can be initiated. You will also have the Sun and Mercury in your second house, which is your financial house, your house of money. So make hay while the sun shines. And you have Venus finally moving in a very good way. Venus is our money planet, and she is in your sign, in the sign of Aries. Saturn is also asking you to step up and be counted. It's not the time to refuse a promotion or to say, I'm not up for anything. This is the time to take that leap and to say, yes, I'm there, I'm going to give it a try, and I'm going to succeed. The month finishes off with a new moon in Gemini around the 27th, and that's going to be lovely because it's a light and playful energy. It's in a cadent house for you. There's not a lot of pressure, and this would be a wonderful time to do something lighthearted, hook up with friends, go and watch a funny movie, get a new book, do something which is helpful and joyful communication for you that takes any heavy responsibilities that you've been feeling with the Saturn buildup and gives you an outlet, gives you some kind of release. June brings the greater benefic Jupiter into the solar house of the home for you, Aries. And Jupiter will be here for a year, expanding the home, bringing luck into the home, bringing good things. And I see many of you renovating, buying land, moving apartments, having additions to your families, good things coming into the home. Jupiter brings a lot of growth when it's in the sign of Cancer. The one thing that you need to be mindful of is taking on too much. And this is because a square aspect will form between Jupiter in Cancer and your Sun or Ascendant in Aries. When there is a square energy like that coming from Jupiter to the Sun, we need to know when to stop. Doing too much can become too much, and we can become exhausted and overextended. So welcome in this beautiful energy. Around the 10th of June, Jupiter will move into that sign of Cancer, but pay attention, don't overdo it. And you will be helped with this because the planet Saturn has just moved into Aries. So they are forming a square, and Saturn will help to put the brakes on a little bit with Jupiter. And when these two planetary energies get together, it is a wonderful time for really having a sense of purpose, knowing what you're doing and why you are doing it, and being forced by the planetary energies to confront things in your life and to go deeply as to why you are doing whatever you're doing. That's what's going to come up in June, and it's going to be a very helpful process because as the next 2 years continue, more and more opportunities are going to come your way, Aries. And you want to make sure that you know why you're doing something. So my wish for you is that you ask these kind of questions during June. And you will have opportunities. Straight after that move of Jupiter, there's going to be a full moon on the 11th in the house which asks you to philosophize. And if you're not doing something like reading a book on philosophy or questioning everything in your life, I hope that you are traveling or studying something that expands your mind, because this is the energy that will be available, signing up for a new course, booking that holiday that you've worked so hard for. And we also are going to have a definite shift around the 18th, Aries, because Mars will finally get out of the Cancer Leo zone where it's been since last year, and Mars will move into Virgo. You will have action for detailed work. You will feel more concentrated. This is also the time to take care of health once again. Always a health check when it's 6th house. Is there something bothering me? Can I have it seen to now? Shall I book that doctor's appointment I've been putting off forever? And it's also the time to examine, what are you doing every day in your routine? Is there something you can streamline? What is working, what isn't? Virgo is such a good sign for throwing out the excess and for honing in on what we really need. So make use of Mars is in that sign. It's in your 6th house, and you want to use that energy for June going on into July. The month of June will finish off with a new moon in the sign of Cancer, which is again about home, family, reconnecting. It could also be about your country. Some of you will be immigrating with Jupiter in Cancer from June 2025 to June 2026. That new moon could be the start of your plans. Are you applying for a green card? Are you applying for a working visa? Are you planning to travel overseas? The new moon energy is a positive time for seeding those kinds of things. The first week and a half of July are times to not stick your neck out, just lay low. There's a lot of action. Take care of regular things. And we've got Venus changing signs, and we've also got this major move of Uranus into Gemini. So this means a huge innovation and fresh energy for your house of communication, your house of learning, your house of community and neighbors. So see what comes up. But when planets are switching signs, Venus is also moving into Gemini, we want to take it easy, because when we try to initiate action right at that moment, there's a little bit too much volatility, and the outcome can be not exactly what we hoped for. So rather than do something in the external world at this time, you can journal, you can write, you can imagine what you wish for yourself during this Uranus in Gemini transit. It's going to be there for many years. So we will have ample opportunity to harvest its energy, which is going to be very much focused on the technological world and on advancements in technology. And Aries, because this is taking place in your 3rd solar house, you are going to be able to tap in very much using this energy for your work. If you're retired, maybe you're going to take a course on technology and, really up your grade as to how you understand what's going on in the world. Things are changing so fast that all of us need to keep up. We need to know what AI does. It's here to stay. Can we educate ourselves so that we don't end up like that ostrich with our head stuck in the sand and everything's going on around us and we don't know how to participate mindfully in what is really happening now? We can't go back. Uranus is the planet that teaches us. We can only move forward. Other action for July will be a full moon in Capricorn on the 10th of the month, give or take a day on either side. That's highlighting work for you, Aries. If you're not working, it's highlighting one of your parents or the public. What are you out there in the world? What are you doing? How do people see you? What is your public image? and what do you want to project? Be mindful at that time of the full moon. We will have a Mercury retrograde again. We have them about 3 times a year, starting on the 18th of July. So that's your time to kick back a little bit, clear out the office. I find myself very productive during Mercury retrograde periods because they give you a time to pause, see old friends, rustle up a meal, have them over. This is what that energy really invokes. Positive shift of energy for you around the 22nd when the sun moves into Leo, trining your sun, and we've got a new moon in the sign of Leo around the 24th, and that's going to be a good time to have a party and spend time with family, especially children or romantic partners, also favored at this time, as are musical, creative, aesthetic endeavors. Maybe you are going to redecorate your house with Jupiter in Cancer, new moon in Leo. That energy is coming up for you. August begins with a wonderful few days for relaxation. So if you can take some time off work, take a vacation, spoil yourself with something cuddly and cozy. Venus is traveling through your house or the home, bringing beauty there, wanting you to chill out a little bit. And there will be a shift in the second week of August where energy moves into the house of the partnership or into a more external area of your life. So previously for July, it was all about health, getting things on track, you and your own routine. And then in August, we see focus on the partner and focus on the public. You know, not everyone is in a relationship, but when we have that action planet traveling through a public house, we tend to get out there. And what I would like to suggest is that you don't get worried if there are delays throughout August, like a stop-start energy, because you will have Mars in Libra, but it is being opposed by Saturn in Aries, and Jupiter is in Cancer, forming a T-square, and that energy is going to feel like, I want to expand, I want to grow, I want to do this, and then hold on, you've got to toe the line, you've got to wait, you've got to follow a budget, or there's some kind of restriction. And this will play out in many different ways depending on where you are and whatever is going on in your lifestyle. Patience is the watchword for August. And especially patience if you are in any kind of relationship or in a business partnership. Give that person extra time and don't try to rush things along because you're going to start to feel frustrated. This is a time of being very diplomatic and juggling the various needs of parties involved in any kind of negotiation. You may have to toe the line, and that's okay. If you're patient, things are going to start to move forward. The one will be when Mercury moves direct. After being retrograde on the 11th of August, Mercury will start to pick up speed again. And that can be helpful in negotiations or in bringing things to fruition. We will also feel a positive energy around that time. A day or two before, there will be a full moon, and that's going to take place in that wonderful 11th house, full moon in Aquarius. So again, we're dealing with friends that are supporting us, love that we receive, dreams that we can actualize. And near the end of the month, there are 2 things I'd like to mention. One will be the new moon in Virgo, which will highlight all that work that we did in July on getting our routine and our eating habits into gear. that will help us to reflect and say, yes, we're on track and we're really turning over a new leaf. The final thing for August will be when Venus will move into Leo, bringing joy, bringing love, bringing abundance to creativity, to the place where we can relax, to our house of leisure. So that bodes well if many of you are in the northern hemisphere. That will be the end of summer. So again, try to schedule in advance that you can take a few days right at the end of August. It's going to be a beautiful time for Aries to relax. September looks like a busy month, Aries. It's one of the best times of the year for 2025 to upgrade any kind of hardware, software, new phones, whatever you need, because between the 3rd and the 18th of September, Mercury will be traveling through one of the signs that it rules. It's very strong. It's all systems go, and when we purchase new electronic equipment or do upgrades at this time, they tend to go well. And I'm inviting you to do that. Put it in your calendars now. We all need to upgrade regularly these days. So if you need a new laptop, a new iPad, a new computer, that's your time. The other thing that is of note in September is that it's the second eclipse season of the year, and the two eclipses, the solar and the lunar, will be taking place in your 6th and 12th house axis, which is to do with things that are hidden, secrets, health as well, or routine. It's that axis which wants to bring things to light that you may have been ignoring. So I ask you to pay attention at that time and to listen to what the universe is trying to tell you. And the dates for those are around 7th of September. We're going to have the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. And on the 21st, there will be the new moon, and that's a partial solar eclipse, new moon in Virgo. The 6th house is also about our pets, small animals that we love and care for. And it also brings attention to people who work for us, who are maybe under our payroll or under our care. What's coming up at that time, and how can we be of service to those people during this eclipse season? On September 22nd, your ruling planet is going to move into Scorpio, where it is very strong and able to act. So this can be a powerful time for you, as Mars will remain in Scorpio for the entire month of October. One thing you do need to note, though, Aries, is that it is a time of adjustment. When Mars is in Scorpio, it's strong, but the way it is relating to your sun or your ascendant requires you to do some kind of inner adjustment to receive the benefit of that energy. And sometimes this can be hard to do. So I'm suggesting that you put your head down during October and work really, really hard. It's a great time to research. If you have any surgery that you can elect for, something like a hip operation or something that you've been putting off for a long time, and you have a wide range of time in which to do it because it's not acute, recommending October. Mars in Scorpio is a good time usually for that kind of thing. And of course, I'm not a medical doctor, so the advice of your doctor is primary. In terms of the rest of the month, we have some movement around the middle of the month when Venus will move into Libra, which is your house of partnership. So this could be a positive time around the 14th, and on for the next few weeks, where Venus, planet of love, will be traveling through that area. So if you are looking for a relationship, put yourself out there. I'm always interested when I hear from clients that all of them are dating through these online apps, because it is still possible to meet people in real time. You can meet someone in the supermarket, you can meet them on the subway, climbing a mountain, going on a retreat, etc., on an aeroplane. So try it out. When November rolls around, Aries, my feeling for you is that things are going to be less pressured. This energy you've been feeling to evolve, to grow, to move forward is somewhat taken off, because in September, Saturn moved out of your sign back into Pisces. In October, Neptune moved out of your sign back into Pisces. And as November gets underway, Mars is also going to move out of the intensive energy of Scorpio, and around the 5th of the month will move into Sagittarius. You'll feel an energy, you'll want to travel, you'll want to expand, perhaps studies, but not so much energy on working at home, working with the family, evolving, growing your identity. Because all that movement that we've spoken about in the sign of Aries is going to force you in the next 2 years to expand the sense of who you are. Can you do something more? You know, what do you want from this life? And this is going to be the time when things really, really can move forward for you if you plan and evolve. But November looks like a bit of a break. Perhaps you're in the Northern Hemisphere and you get to have time off for Thanksgiving. Whatever the case, make time to relax in November. You need it. The full moon will be on the 5th, and that's going to be in Taurus. That's always a good time to nourish yourself, go for some body work, eat healthily, cook a meal with friends, take care of your finances, all those things that you are now becoming so familiar with. Remember, in every sign, we're going to have a new and full moon at different times of the year. And those are the times you want to touch base on the themes that those signs rule. We will also have a new moon in Scorpio around the 20th. So that may highlight your spouse's money, your partner's money. It can also bring up things to do with healing, often psychological healing. The month of November ends with Mercury, which has been retrograde for most of November, moving direct. So right at the end of the month, around the 29th. And that whole retrograde direct motion has taken place in Sagittarius. So I can envision you going back to something you may have studied in the past, or returning to a place, taking a trip, a place that you've already been. Can be a very, very good time also to connect with friends that you might have studied with in college. But whatever the case, attention is for having a bit of time to yourself in that month. December feels like ample opportunities are given to review the year and to gather your forces. Uranus has also left Gemini and moved back into Taurus, so this feels like a finishing up of any kind of financial new things that took place from 2024 onwards. You might be feeling that it's time to tidy up some projects and to finish them up before the year's end. This December will be interesting for Aries because around the middle of the month, your ruling planet will move into the sign of work, your solar 10th house. And we often associate December with a time of relaxation, but it seems to me that you will be doing some work over the holidays or wanting to work. and it will be a time where you will have opportunities to work if you choose to do that. So I wish that for you, and it's good to have the heads up that is you're going to receive energy in that area of your chart. And what follows on from that is around the 24th of December, Venus will also move into that house. So bringing some money in, bringing some blessings, making things smooth at work. So I'm inviting you to think of December as a time where there are opportunities to earn money. And if you are not working, as always, adjust it. This house can also mean you're dealing with issues with one of your parents. In this case, it looks pretty positive. Maybe they're coming to stay with you. We do have a new moon in Sagittarius that ends off the year, and that's again a positive placement for you, Aries. We'll be trining your sun, fire to fire. That's around the 20th of the month, so enjoy that. Set intentions for expanding your consciousness for the next year, because that's the energy that new moon likes to bring in. And all that's left for me is to wish you a very, very good 2025. It looks like it's all systems go. 2026 is going to be even more so, because those outer planets will be firmly in your sign by then. And be well, post me a comment, let me know how you're doing. I wish you all the very best. Until next time.